This is the Perfect Being. I'm here to tell you all to subscribe to the perfect channel, UnrealEntGaming. Please remember to turn on your notifications to be the first to know about the latest in Dragon Ball news and information. And if you don't, very soon you will all be dead, along with your entire planet.
The Tournament of Power continues as eliminations are beginning to be made, as Goku's back is up against the wall as he faces off against multiple opponents from Universe number 9, as Goku and Vegeta look to clear house by throwing each member of Universe 9 out, all while our heroes are split into several groups as some are able to hold their own in battle while others are struggling. What's going on, Dragon Ball fans? Welcome to my Dragon Ball Super episode 98 breakdown review entitled "Oh Uncertainty, a Universe Despairs," leading into next week's exciting episode of Dragon Ball Super episode 99, in which at long last, based on the episode preview, we get to see Universe 7 in trouble as Krillin is primarily focused in trying to save his wife from certain dangers, and of course seeing what Goku and Vegeta did, it looks like Universe number 9 is now going to be officially gone as they're going to be the first ones to go, and of course basing this, we see the tension rise between Universe 7 and of course Universe number 6, alongside many other things to come. But a quick plug before we begin: if you guys are new to this channel, be sure to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button for more news, information, updates, and of course discussions alongside gameplay reviews for all forms of Dragon Ball content, and make sure to also go on ahead and punch that bell icon. That way you guys are always notified whenever a Dragon Ball video is posted onto this channel, as I will be covering various Dragon Ball topics throughout the coming weeks. And of course, if you guys are not following me at Twitter, be sure to go on ahead and head over to Twitter and follow me at UnrealEntGaming to be up to date with all that is in Dragon Ball news, information, and updates. And I thank you guys for your overwhelming support on the channel, as it does go a long way. So if you guys are new, be sure to go on ahead, turn on notifications, hashtag notification squad, to be up to date with all that is in Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Super episode 98 is now officially in the history books as we move on forward to Dragon Ball Super episode 99, in which showcases Krillin in having to protect android number 18 from further destruction, as we also get to see a little shot of android 18 and what seemingly looks like Frost in what may be an encounter between android 18 and Frost in next week's episode. We also get to see how Krillin is struggling against this bird-like character, in which the episode next week will primarily focus more on Krillin than anybody else, because Krillin is an important part of next week's episode, as of course he will be, spoiler alert, one of the first ones to be eliminated from Universe number 7, the first person to be gone. And of course we also get to see how he's charging up for his Destructo Disc. We also get to see how Krillin is trying to fend off against some of the other Universal fighters, but also looking after 18 as well, as we understand that 18 is going to be having a difficult time in trying to protect her own and trying to hold her own against several multiverse characters, including one of which having to be Frost, and in which, based on that, we understand that Krillin is going to pay the ultimate price in being eliminated due to that cause. But also having to look at this episode, we saw certain things that left us scratching our heads by the time the episode was over, in the idea that the Omni King finally kept true to his word and destroyed an entire universe, that being Universe number 9. But it's what happened after that left everyone wondering as to what was going on, as we saw the Universe number 9 angel smiling after the Universe number 9 was destroyed. Why is the angel smiling? We understand based on his bio description that he never truly liked Seadra or his Kaioken to begin with, so maybe that's a reason as to why he was smiling. However, towards the very end, we see how the other Kaioken, the other gods of destruction, look on over and they see this angel smiling, they see him laughing, and it's also, if you guys paid attention to the Grand Priestess look, the look that he gave Goku after everything was said and done, we also get to see how Goku looked up with total anger in his face, and the Daishinkan looked down upon him, having to have a smile on his face. What is going on? Is there a secret agenda? Hey, listen, never say never in the world of Dragon Ball, but I'm telling you all right now, as I did back in February, I think that something sinister is going down. I think something sinister is going to be happening within this Tournament of Power. I don't think that this tournament is going to end with a definitive winner. I think that something is going to happen, something involving the Grand Priest, something involving Frieza, something greater involving the gods of destruction, and of course the Omni King as well. But even in this episode, we saw great teamwork from both Goku and Vegeta, in which even execution executed the final Kamehameha, in which the final Kamehameha at long last lives on in the actual episode, as we haven't seen the final Kamehameha ever since Vegito versus Zamasu, and in which case we have to look at it from a certain standpoint and wonder as to if they're going to be working like this ever again, similarly to how we saw in this episode. Now, one thing I do also want to point out is the fact that everyone has to give credit to Lavender, Basil, and Bergamo for putting up a much better fight than how they did against Goku and Gohan and Majin Buu during the Zen exhibition match. But I'm telling you all right now, there is something sinister, there is something devious planned, I think, by the Grand Priest, as we saw the Angel just casually laughing as everyone was looking at him. And again, this could be a clue and or indication as to what may happen later on, but nevertheless, the fight sequences were absolutely amazing. And even seeing the way Frieza functioned, Frieza didn't do much, but less is more. As we saw in this episode, he was completely fodderizing everybody that stood in front of him, even forcing one gargoyle-like creature to jump off of the ring. Who does that? Who puts fear in someone else's heart that much that causes them to literally jump off the ring and having to vacate their spot for their respective universe? That's what Frieza did. So everyone has to give credit to Frieza, because even in his final form, he's beating everyone down. We saw how he was stepping on Napapa and just overall dominating him, not saying that these other characters should stand up to Frieza, nor could they. I just think that it was awesome to see Frieza do something so simple, but it meant so much to the team as a whole. So we get to see Frieza also eliminated someone just by talking down to them, and even during that sequence, we see how Frieza fired off a beam through his finger and it caught the gargoyle in the hand. He went down. The overall episode as a whole showcased so much development for future stories, for future possibilities, and seeing what could happen involving said characters. And again, I love the overall utilization of Vegeta and Goku. However, we also get to see clarification and understanding as to why Goku and Vegeta don't use Super Saiyan Blue, and that is because they want to preserve that energy for later on. It's smart on their move to go ahead and preserve that kind of power, because again, even though we saw them use Super Saiyan I think is more than suitable enough to handle such characters like Basil, Lavender, and Bergamo, in having both Goku and Vegeta execute a barrier upon their body and preventing them from getting touched by Lavender's poison and being affected. So Goku and Vegeta did a very good job in executing that. And how many of you actually thought that Goku and Vegeta were gonna work together ever again, in having Vegeta be the one to pretty much make the save in arriving and pretty much saving Goku's ass from having to get beat from both Bergamo, Basil, and Lavender, which I thought again Vegeta was also the MVP, because Vegeta did some things with several fighters that pretty much showcased his skill, as we saw how one of like the giant obelisk, the tormentor dudes, pretty much froze his arm, and we saw like this cat-like creature trying to attack Vegeta. As he moved out the way, she sliced Lavender, giving Vegeta a chance to eliminate, you know, both the icy dude and the female, as Goku Vegeta pretty much combined their powers in the form of a final Kamehameha in absolutely blowing away the trio of dangers. I mean, obviously enough, they were by the edge of the ring, so they had no other alternative, but you have to give them credit for fighting until the very end. But what I've also noticed here is how the Omni King's God Pad was pretty much a key component in seeing Universe 9 be erased, and overall, some people would say that they enjoyed it, some people will say that Universe 9 did not deserve that, but all in all, having to look at this and having to look at the way everything went down, you have to admit that even though the Omni King wasn't seemingly serious about this, he pretty much kept to his word, and that's what I think was needed to make this Tournament of Power that much more credible, because if you don't include destruction, then your tournament has no credibility. But either way, I do also want to touch up on the idea that the way Universe 9 functioned was very, very good. I mean, I originally thought that this universe wasn't going to do that good, but in fact, they actually held their own in at least having to try, and especially the trio of dangers, as we saw last week and of course this week, for them having to have the spotlight. But of course, it looks like we're never going to see from them ever again, unless of course by the end of this tournament, Goku's the one that wins. He makes the wish to bring everybody back. I mean, again, having to look at what happened with the Omni King, having to look at what happened with the Daishinkan, and of course with the Universe 9 Angel, something is definitely up. Now, the one thing I did not like about this episode was the fact that, number one, they never explained as to how much time has passed now. Of course, depending on when you're watching this video, either a minute has passed, 2 minutes have passed, 3 minutes have passed, we don't know. So I think for me, that was one thing I did not like. And another thing that I did not like about this episode was nobody else pretty much jumped in to have a different angle in fighting off Universe number 9. For example, where was Gohan? Where were several other characters? I get the idea that they focused more on Goku and Vegeta having to work as a cohesive unit, and again, that is something that you don't really see too often, especially with Vegeta having to be the one to volunteer in helping Goku out. Normally enough, it's Goku trying to help out Vegeta, but here we see something completely different. So you have to give credit to Vegeta in having to help out Goku, even though Goku, if he were to go at max power, wouldn't really require the help of Vegeta. It was still pretty cool to see their utilization and capitalization of both of them having to team up and work together. But overall, I think that it was a solid episode. I think, in my opinion, this week's episode was much better than last week's episode. And again, if you guys want to go on ahead and watch the episode for yourselves, you guys can go to crunchyroll.com and /Dragon Ball Super to check it out. But again, having to go back to the episode preview, I mean, we get to see Krillin, you know, having his moment with this bird-like character, but I don't understand as to why he's having such a hard time. And also, we get to see Android 18 with shades. She looks like she's, you know, having fun or whatever, but even with that being said, the most interesting part about that entire preview was seeing 18 and Frost having to be at the same place at the same time. Are they hinting that 18 is going to fight Frost? Are they hinting that something's going to go down involving Frost, to where Frost is going to be the one that's going to push Android 18 to her breaking point, perhaps even causing Krillin to jump in and having to make the save? I think that Frost is going to play a very key role next week, because even if we get to see Android 18 having to fight Frost and Frost having to push her back, does that mean that Frost is stronger than 18? It begs the question, and it makes you wonder as to what's going to be happening. But this episode, I think, signified a very ominous sign in many horrible things to come, because by the end of this, I do think that something's got to give, especially having to look at how the Grand Priest reacted, especially having to see how the Angel reacted to all of this, and even to the idea that we see that 18 is in trouble next week, and which forces Krillin to pretty much step up on the idea that Krillin has to defend his wife. But I also want to know from you guys, what are your overall thoughts on the Grand Priest? What are your overall thoughts on why the Angel is laughing? What are your overall thoughts on Krillin having to get beat up by this green bunny-like character? So I want to know your thoughts down below on the entire situation. What do you guys think is going to happen involving Krillin? What are your overall thoughts on seeing Universe number 9 get erased? I'm not going to lie to you guys, by the end of it, I kind of felt bad, because the way Rose said Zeno-sama, and that was the end of his entire existence. It was insane to see. But post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all for watching. If you guys are fans, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more news, information, and updates. Tune back in for more. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like down below, and I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Take it easy, guys. Peace.